When people don't know what you've been through, they don't understand your praise. When they don't know what you have sacrificed, those late nights when you wanted to quit, I'm talking to somebody, those times when you were crying saying, I can't make it, you have a reason to celebrate. And let me tell you, with everybody trying to stop your shine, you cannot be stopped. And I'm going to quote the famous lines of the ubiquitous Sean P. Diddy Combs, can't stop, won't stop. Who am I talking?
So no know say anytime there is something powerful about to happen, the devil always try to work him way in, right? Anytime something powerful is about to go down, the devil always tries to work him way in. But you know what me say that the devil try to wiggle him way in, move out of my way, Satan. And that me always say, you know, me say Satan move out of my way, cause tonight and not your night. You know, and that him always try to do, wiggle him way in when him say God people. So, you know say, me start a whole 22 minutes late right now. Jesus, a whole 22 minutes late because of Satan. I started on time, but then Satan made the audio never did a function right for some reason. But, you know say, that never did a go stop nothing from going on tonight. You understand me? I say something powerful about for go down and Satan see it and I say, alright then, you think Satan go on, watch what me I go do, but then me say Satan move out of my way. Carry a little words did not go round, so on a year time now. Unstoppable family will go on. Big up, glad to see everybody here tonight, whether you are on Facebook or YouTube. Thanks so much for tuning in. Now, as you can see already, I started the first time and we did have a little technical difficulties, so that means some people probably not get the notification the second time when I come back. So what I want to do right now is share out the show for me. Share it out as much as you can so that the people them who may not have gotten the notifications will get the notification by you sharing. Alright, so if you're on Facebook, just share out the show in every single group that you can share it in for me. Share it out. And if you're on YouTube, share it to some WhatsApp contact and make them know say, yo, Unstoppable is live for another awesome show. And speaking of an awesome show, tonight's show is brought to you by none other than Clean Coachy. Alright, Clean _Coachy is their name. Alright, and you can check them out over there on Instagram. It's KLEAN _KOUCHY. Alright, so all the ladies who may need some assistance because you know probably have some yeast infections and stuff and need some assistance, listen me, them can help you know with anything where you know want some assistance with, ladies. Alright, and the man them when may have a like a stand-up problem, you can reach out to Clean Coachy as well and they will help you know out with some natural products. Alright, Clean Coachy, the number you can reach them at is 876-429-8345 and they are tonight's sponsor for the show. Now viewers, you know you have a lot of persons traumatized, right? From childhood days they have been molested and struggling with trauma from situations like that. A lot of people them hold it inside, them not talk about it, them not tell nobody about it, them just keep it to themselves. Alright? But in this day and age, a lot of people, a lot of persons are being more open about situations like that. If it happen, nobody now keep it secret no more. They are exposing the molesters. They are exposing the people who condone the molesters. And I commend persons who speak out when things like this happen. And tonight we have a young lady here who wants to share her situation of molestation that happened to her in her very young childhood days, right? And we're going to invite the guest to tonight's program. But before I do that, I'm going to ask everybody once again to share the show, because every single person needs to hear what this guest is going to be sharing with us tonight, right? And you know, sometimes some people out there need to hear somebody else's story so that they can help themselves and recover from what they might go through. So share out tonight's show for me. Hit that like button and let's get the numbers up. Alright? So with that said, I'm going to introduce the caller. But before I do that, remember the rules of this platform. We do not tolerate disrespect. We not do name calling. So you're not going to call me caller no fool, no dunce, no idiot, no yammed, no jackass, nothing like that. Because if you do so, just know that you will be blocked by either me or one of my moderators here tonight. Alright? Yeah, it's that simple. But however more you mix and mingle in the comment section and, you know, converse about the topic, but no disrespect. Your opinion is welcome as long as it is respectful. All right. With that said, Carla, good night again. How are you?
Good night, Mr. Unstoppable, and to all the callers, all the viewers on Facebook and everywhere that is listening at this moment. And I want to also thank you for, the opportunity that you afforded me on your platform.
Well,
Yes,
firstly, let
sir.
me say, like I said to you earlier, you know, I have to say thank you to you, because it takes a lot of courage when women go through these things to actually want to speak up about it. You know, so I have to say thank you to you, because you're strong enough to want to open up right now about this situation. You know, and you see the devil did that try to stop we a little bit, but him couldn't work him way in though. All right. So since we already
Most
started late,
definitely.
already started late, I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm going to give you the platform so that you can share with myself and the viewers your story, and I will only butt in if I have a question or if one of the viewers have a question for you. Okay?
Not a
All
problem.
right. So start from the very beginning and tell us your situation.
All right. So, the only thing I'm gonna say, I'm really here to really meet the people who need to hear this, not the people who are going to talk a bunch of nonsense, just people who really need to hear this. So I grew up in Jamaica in the second city, and so I grew up with both my parents, which was my they're my adopted parents. So at about 5 years old, I got sick. So my mother came up with the solution that the best place for me to go was in the country area where my grandmother was. All right, so I moved there, started school there, and then in that house consists of my grandmother, my two cousins, male cousins, along with their sister, my aunt. So, and in those days, in that household, there was what would you call it? No, they didn't have light, so we used candle. So I went from in the city where you are modernized, you're more modernized, to in the country where you had to learn to you know adjust yourself. So when the abuse started, I can't give a date, but all I know is that both of them, they're twins, they're twin brothers, and I don't remember if it started with a touch. I don't remember what it started off with, but all I know is that the rape started. Now, it was a case where my grandmother would always be out on the road. My aunt would be at work. She would go to work like in the morning. And in those days, cars, vehicle was hard to get to go home. So you have like, she would come home by maybe 9 o'clock in the night. So she would leave very early in the morning and come home late in the night. My grandmother was the type of person who she knew everybody in the community, so she would go out and she would not come. So I was always left at home with either one of them, one of the boy, or the other one. Sometimes with one of them, or and their and her his sister. So what he would have done, um, he would send his sister to the shop, and when this girl went to the shop, she would spend like forever. So he would have gotten enough time to do what he wanted to do to me. And we're not talking about just a touch, we're talking about full blown penetration, which amounts to rape. Now, at this point in time, um, I was in the house with people, but it was as if I was alone. Nobody paid me any attention. Nobody take the time out to see that something was going on, even though, I was exhibiting signs of trauma. I would faint sometimes. I had constant headaches sometimes, and I would be sick. Nobody would notice. Now, at this point in time, when I went to live with my grandmother, I had stopped wetting bed. And when the abuse started, I started now to wet bed again. Now, at this point in time, I used to sleep with my grandmother. And whenever I would wet the bed, she would beat me when I wet the bed. So nobody asked any question, nobody saw anything. So so it was a situation like this where I don't know how the twin thing work out, but if it was not one of them today, it was another one tomorrow. So what happened was that there was this one he stands out in my mind more than anyone else. What he would do is anywhere he caught me, that is where I would be raped, even if it's under, because back in the days, we lived on a hilltop with my grandma in my grandmother's house. There we lived on a hilltop, and so you could bathe at the back of the yard and nobody would see you. Even there, he would rape me. So anywhere he caught me. So I didn't tell anybody because I didn't feel like I could tell anybody. Now, sometimes on certain occasions, I would go and spend time with my mother and father in the city. But when they would take me home, back to the house where my grandmother is, I would, no matter how I'm in my deepest of sleep, I would wake up out of my sleep crying. No matter how deep, once I reach, I know. I don't know how I know, but I knew that I reached. And I would be crying from my sleep until I actually wake up. And the problem I had was that nobody asked me what was wrong. All right. So this abuse continued until I moved. My parents, they moved up to the country now. So we were not living too far away from my grandmother's house. So I moved to where my mother's house was. And now because I did not say anything, my mother now started asking these boys to come and babysit me. And then it continued. So now the situation got out in the open because my sister came down from she and she's listening right now too. She came down from Kingston because she was living in Kingston with her mom. So she came to spend time with us for the holiday. And so I had a high fever, and she had to give me a bath. So when she started giving me the bath, she called me by my alias, and she said, who are trouble you? And I said to her, nobody not trouble me. Nobody not trouble me. But I was afraid because remember, whenever these people are doing things like these to you, they always make sure that they intimidate you to shut you up so that you always keep their secret. So my sister had to tell me, she said, I won't tell anybody. And she had to really convince me that she wasn't going to tell anybody. So she lied to me and said, I'm not going to tell anybody. And so for 3 consecutive days, she questioned me and she asked me questions and I responded to her. And then when she recognized that she was getting the same answers from me, I remember the night my mother was ironing for my father. She was in the living room. My sister and I, we were in the room. And my sister, I remember I was running after her because she stormed out of the room and she said, Mega tell her, and she called my mother name, Mega tell her. And I felt like my world, like that night, I felt like everything, like if the earth could open and just swallow me, that would have been a better thing. That's how much I felt. So she told my mother, my father was there also. So they got angry, they got agitated. My father jumped in his car, my mother started walking. Because remember, I said they had moved closer to where my grandmother was living. Anyways, it was an uproar the night. My aunt was angry, of course, because it's her son. And so she was like, my father is a liar. So the night she classed my father, and I am a liar. All right. But what stood out to me about that night with the situation when it came out is that both parents made the situation about them. So here I am sitting in the back of the car. And at the time, I don't know if you guys remember Lada. My father was driving a blue Lada. I will never forget it. And I was sitting in the back of that car, and it was just pure chaos. But anyways, we they took to the doctor. Then we went to the police station. All right. The problem that I had with that stands out in my head about the police station scene was instead of them sending a female officer to me, they sent a male officer to me. And here I am sitting down with my little self. My head hung down because I was embarrassed. I was ashamed because of what was done. I'm there. I'm sitting down. The officer is asking me questions, but I could not answer. I was too traumatized. Anyways, maybe because I was not able to give my word, they were not able to take the next step in prosecuting these boys. Anyways, moving on from there, I was taken to, I had to move out of the area. We moved out of the area, me and my mother. My father was still in the area, but me and my mother went to my father's family member's house to stay so that maybe I could recover, maybe. But nobody spoke about it after that. Everybody was quite quiet about it. Nobody has ever asked me how I'm doing. Nobody has ever apologized. All right. We came back down to from where we went in that different parish. We came back down to Montego Bay. So I had to change school again. By this time I think I was about 7, 8 years old when I came back to Montego Bay. So we moved to an area that was same place where they moved from, and I went to so the place that I left from to go where I needed to recuperate. We moved in the same area but not the same place. All right. So and I'm building up something so that the listeners can understand so all these things can become, like, I don't want to say a trend, but it's like most times when a person gets raped as a child, it's like it opens a door for other people to do the same thing. That's what I'm getting at. All right, so we now live at this place. So here I was going to school, and my mother was always working late at night as well. This is why she had asked these boys to babysit me before the incident came on. So here we were living in that place, and my mother asked me to go up to the neighbor's house to stay when I came from school. Now, this gentleman, he lived with his girlfriend and his daughter. So I went up there. I was up there. Night came down. My mother never come for me. Before I know it, this man, right beside his daughter, he raped me too. No, I never said anything to anybody because I never know how to tell it. And let me clear up something too. My mother was living a double life. So by then she had taught me how to keep secrets. So it was not only those boys that taught me to keep their secret. I had to keep her secret too. So by this time I learned to keep my mouth shut. So I did not say anything to anybody about this next incident. And so these things broke me. And by this time, I was so broken to the point where I could not function. I could barely function. Now, by this time, still wet in bed, still having nightmares. I'm having panic attack. I started learning to cut myself by this time. So now I learned to cut off people in terms of building a wall around myself. So moving forward to a couple of years um, later, I started and by the way, let me go back a little bit. So when this incident was happening with my cousins, I remember one morning I was brushing my teeth and I said to God, I hate you. Because I we used to go to my grandmother used to take me to church. And I said to God, I hate you. And the reason for me saying this is because you go to church, you learn that God can stop things from happening. And so I blame God for it because I'm saying, you're up there, you're the big one. They say you control the whole world, but yet you can't protect me. But at this time, I did not understand many things. So it went on that as time went by, I was still struggling. Even in my teenage years, I was still struggling. I did poorly in high school. I struggled. And I remember this lady came into my life at the age of 13, and she never liked my attitude, but she said to me, she said, God said, I must be your friend. And we became good friends. And I had her to talk to because nobody else would really listen to me when I talk. Because at this time now, I started talking a little bit. By the time I got into my teenage years, I started talking a little bit. And I noticed that when I started to talk, people would be like, the hush hush culture, don't talk, don't say anything, let it stay. But this lady now started listening to me. And by this time, I was very suicidal. I used to sit down and plan out I had a yellow dress and a yellow polka dot dress. And I used to say to my mother, this is the dress I want you to bury me in, because she did not understand what I was going through. And she never got help for me. And it was never spoken about. And let me explain to you that she was my adopted mother, and she was also an abusive person as well. Because this lady, I don't know, if it was not for God, this lady would have killed me. She would have killed me. So that is one of the other reasons why I couldn't even talk to her either, because she was very abusive. So it happened that this lady, she came into my life, and I was suicidal by then, very suicidal. So moving on, went to church. And what I noticed is that one of the things that helped me when I started going to this church was that, and this was when I started getting older now, because the church that I used to go before, I had left that church because I was old enough now to go to the church that I wanted to. And what I noticed when I went to the church is that some of the things that I was struggling started to leave. So like the nightmares started to go slowly, but the bedwetting was not going anywhere. It took a while for the bedwetting to go. And so I struggled over the years. So eventually I came to the United States in 2019. And by the way, I'm 35 years old now. Came to the United States and I realized that when I came here to heal actually. This is why I came to the United States so that I could heal from all the situations because I didn't want to be, I got tired of walking up and down in the town not knowing if I'm gonna see one of them. It got to me to that extent. And so I started therapy. Now, this therapy that I was in was not only a it was not only a physical therapy. It because this lady is a what would I call it now? A minister. I met her on YouTube, and when I listened to how she spoke, I said, "This lady, I have to get in touch with her." We got in touch. I started my therapy session, and it was not easy. It was not easy to relive these situations, but I had to go back down the road and relive these situations. And so so I had got the spiritual part of the deliverance, which I don't want to really go into that part of it. But what I realized is that when your parents plant rejection in you, it's like everywhere you go, people reject you. Everywhere you go, people see it's like there's something that you can't see that people want to hurt you. And my spiritual mother explained that to me, why these things were happening. And so where I am now, I am still on my journey. So my mother and I, the relationship between us, I've not spoken to her in a year. Reason for that is there are some times when people don't love you
All right,
and you have to come to.
before you continue, we're at the 30-minute mark. I'm going to give you a few seconds to take a water break while I pay the credits. And I also have a few
All right,
questions from the comment section. So take a few seconds and I'll jump right back to you while I pay the credits. All right?
all right.
All right, so good night once again to all the new viewers checking into Unstoppable Live. Tonight we have a guest sharing her ordeal that she went through as a child and the process to healing, right? So if you're here for the very first time, jump in the comment section and say good night. Let us know that you're new so that we can welcome you. All right, tonight's program is brought to you by Clean Coochie. All right, it's KELEN_Coochie. You can check them out over there on Instagram, or you could give them a call at 876-429-8345. I want to say thank you to everyone that has contributed to the program so far. Thank you to Angela Wiley over there on Facebook, who sent in a PayPal contribution. Felicia Brown, also from Facebook, sent in a PayPal contribution. Sania Crowley sent in a Cash App contribution. Shireen Morris sent in a Zelle contribution. And Ruthan, thank you so much for sending in a Cash App contribution to the program tonight. It is appreciated. Also, I want to big up to everybody who signed up to become a member. I see I got two sign ups tonight to become an official member over here on YouTube. Thank you so much. And if you're also on Facebook and you haven't signed up to become a supporter, click that become a supporter button and sign up officially. All right, with that said, let's get back to tonight's guest as she continues the program. All right, so the questions a few of the commenters are asking is, we know that you were 5 when this happened to you. How old were your cousins at the time?
They were in their teenage years, but we're talking about 14, 15.
Around 14, 15. Okay, so they were old
Yeah,
enough to know wrong from right.
old enough because I mean, an 8-year-old know wrong from right. Yeah, they were old enough to know wrong from right.
And the other question that I saw in the comments were the man who you said, your friend's father who you said raped you, right? Nothing ever came out of
Mm.
that
No,
because you never told anyone about it.
no.
Now, is it that you didn't tell anyone about it because you felt like nothing would have happened based on what happened with your cousins?
Um, all right. So when you go through these situations, it's like your mind goes into a mode, and this is what I need people to understand. It's like your mind going to a mode where it's like, you know, you don't want to be re-traumatized by going through the court system if there is a court system. That's number one. Number two, you feel the need to protect the perpetrator's family. You want to protect everybody. Meanwhile, you are left out there in the cold. You're hurting. You're traumatized. So that's what I was doing. Never stood up for myself at that time.
When you told your mother about your cousins, right?
I didn't tell my mother about my cousins. My sister did.
Right, but when she found out about it, um,
Hmm.
was there any form of, or was she reacting as if she didn't believe it at any point?
She never reacted as if she did not believe, but with all of what was done between my two parents, it was as if it was all about them. I'm the one that went through it, and they were there back and forth with each other as if it was them that went through it.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
You know, some parents would be there for you. They would hug you. They would say, "My daughter, I'm so sorry that this happened to you." Because actually, at one point, when I went back to live with my mother and the incident was happening, I was walking a certain way one day, and my mother looked at me and she said, "What happened to you?" And at the time, because I was so scared, I said to her, "I'm just safe," and that was it. She left it at that. Now, many parents would have said, "All right, let us see where you are safe." She just left it. It was that's it. That was it. Nothing else.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
That was it. It was done right there.
After she found out about that incident, did she try to keep you away from that aunt and your cousins?
So at the age of 12, she used to send me around there every Saturday to wash my clothes, of course. And then one of the twin, he caught me one day, and just as he was about to full on penetrate me, it's like I don't know what happened because his sister was outside taking a shower, of course. So I don't know what happened, if he was scared, if he heard something, but he stopped immediately. And I remember there was we call it asak in Jamaica.
Mm.
It was in the room. He went and sat on there.
So
So he waited
this
until his sister went to take a shower before he started his attack.
so
And
despite
then I don't know what he heard.
despite knowing that happened to you at 5, she still was sending you there at 12, knowing what happened to
Yeah,
you. And at this point,
definitely.
obviously, they were much older than when you were 5.
Exactly. Exactly. I don't think that she had it in her to love me, and I don't think she will ever have it in her to love me. And that is something I have now come to accept, and I'm fine with that now.
You mentioned that you no longer speak to her, and you haven't spoken to her in how long?
1 year.
Now, before this, where you're not speaking to her, right? Was there ever a point in time where you spoke to her about what happened since you became an adult? Was there ever a point in time where you spoke to her and said, "Mommy, this is how I feel about what happened"? Did you ever have a conversation with her about it?
All right. Here's the reason why I never had a conversation with her. You know, those people who, as soon as you start saying certain things, you bring up certain things, they get angry, agitated. In
Mm-hmm.
Jamaica, you would say them dark.
Mm-hmm.
Is that type of a person. And then one of my female cousins told me that and she said something similar to me, so I believe my cousin told me that she said that I was busy laying down enjoying myself. And this
What?
is one of the reasons why I said I have to. I have to make a choice to cut her off.
Wow.
I have to make a choice to cut
Your
her
mother
off.
say you did there busy laying down enjoying yourself.
Busy, then later I enjoy myself.
As that
That is what she said
wow.
as a child. As a
Mm,
child.
mm,
So she was not the type of mother, like she was not good of a mother. I'm not telling you that she has never done anything good for me. I will never do that. And please, I do not want anybody bashing her or anything like that. I'm just saying these things because I want people to understand that these things really do happen.
mm-hmm,
And the signs that people should look out for with their children. Because I'm telling you right now, somebody's child is going through the same thing.
mm-hmm.
Somebody's child is going through the same thing. So she wasn't that good of a mother. My father was always busy going to work and all these things. He worked at night, sleep in the daytime. He was most time working too. But then she come home in the night. So she wasn't that of a good mother. She was the type of mother that uplift the child and all these things. Everything was always speaking negative things over me. Speaking negative things over me. It was always bashing. The only thing she had time for is when she wanted to whoop my behind. She had
When
time for that.
all right, you mentioned that you did very poorly in school because of this situation that you were facing as a child. But other than school, all right. So you finished school, right? You finished school, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Okay. So after school, at what age did you leave? Did you migrate to the states?
In 2019, I would have been what? Oh Lord. So I'm 35 now, and I came here in 2019. Let's see.
Well, what I
So
want
I
to
would have
get
been
at,
33 at the time
what I want
when
to
I
get
came
at,
here.
what I want to get at is after school, after you completed school, what was your life like? Did this thing affect you? As an
All right,
adult.
all right. So relationship wise, intimacy was a disaster. Intimacy was a major disaster, and I could not keep a relationship. Honestly, I could not. My relationship with people was very poor because by now you build up a wall around yourself. You're protecting yourself from everybody, man, woman, boy, and girl. You're protecting yourself from everybody. And then one of the things that I should mention is that one of them looked at me when I was now an adult. He looked at me and he was like, "Do you remember what we used to do?" And I felt like if the earth could just open and swallow me.
But Alimboli,
The, the word that he said out of his mouth, might as well he had slapped me in my face. That would have been better. That would have been better than what he actually said to me. And I said, what we used to do? And that was the end of the argument with him. So these people too, what we people need to understand, they will never feel like they did anything wrong. They won't feel like they did anything wrong. In their minds, oh, we were in it together. And so most of the time, nobody spoke about it. It was a hush hush. The society that we live in is a hush hush. Nobody really want to talk about it. Or if you do try to say something, people will say to you, you know what, get over it. It's past and gone. Meanwhile, you're sinking in a ditch. I was sinking in a ditch. I started drinking. I started smoking. This minute I'm in church, the next minute I'm gone out of church. I was very unstable in my adult, up to the time before I came here. Very unstable, very unstable. So my life was not the best of life because now I had this to live with. There was not a day that went by that I did not remember what these boys did. Never a day. And other people too who were involved that I never mentioned, their names. Other people along the line. And so it was like a trend. for people to do these things for you. And then there was this constant yearning inside of my heart for a mother. So I would always be attached to people. You see, the like older ladies, I would always want to be attached to them. And it just never work out. You know, in terms of when I say attach, I mean like you're looking for a mother. It's like you're on a quest for a mother. That was always my thing, searching for a mother. And so sometimes by the time I maybe form a little relationship with a adult lady that I would say, well, this person could be my, my mother, it would not work. It would fall apart. And so I would not get along with people. But as I started going through my journey to healing, and it's still a journey. I'm not telling you that I've been perfected in that journey as yet. And I'm not gonna sit down here and tell people that, oh, you're gonna get over it overnight. It's a process. So in order for me to reach to a stage now where I start putting myself together, because I never used to put myself together. I was depressed as I got older. Depression took over. I could not function properly. So I would not care about how I look. I would not care about myself. But then I remember this lady, this precious lady. Her name is, I don't even, I can't call her name. Her name is Dr. Yvette Young. That lady, she changed my life. God used her to change my life. And I remember she said something that stood out to me. And she said, people is going to treat you the way you treat yourself. So when she said that to me, I stuck it in my head and I started putting myself together. I started going out. I never used to do nails. I started putting on nails so I can feel good. I started doing all these things. And I started looking myself in the mirror and I said, you are worthy to be loved. It wasn't easy. It took years. It never happened overnight. And I'm telling people the truth and how it worked. It didn't happen overnight. Because I still had my mother around me during the time when I was going to therapy, agitating me. And the only time she would call me really is if she wants money,
Okay, there
or she
seems to
calls
be
to tell
some
me that somebody died.
confusion. There seems to be some confusion in the comments. Persons are asking, the mother that you're speaking of, is she your biological mother?
The reason why I did not mention my biological mother at all in this is because I only met her when I was 16. When I was 16 and a half years old, I met her. And that's why I didn't mention her, because I didn't want to confuse anybody. This is why I didn't mention. I said my adopted parents. They are all I know.
Right. Okay. So your
Yeah,
biological mother was not in your life throughout this ordeal.
was not in my life. Nothing. She recently died. It was not in my life
Okay.
at this point. Well, I knew her when I was 16, but I never really talk. I don't talk about that side of the family to the viewers because I don't want to confuse them. This is why I said my adopted parents.
We understand. You could continue.
So I start putting myself together. I start learning. One of the things I come to learn and understand, like I said, my mother would only call me if she wants money or somebody died. And I remember one day I turned to her because no, when you're starting to get empowered. So now I'm going to the spiritual side of deliverance, which I don't want to go to. I don't want to go into that because I don't want to confuse anybody. And then I started to go to the physical part. So when I started going through these process, I began to understand that if you want to heal, the people that is contributing to your pain, you gotta let them go. It wasn't easy. And I remember one day, when she called me, I said to her, one of these days I am going to cut you off because the only time you call me is when you want something. And she never believed me. And I cut her off one day. And I had to cut off. The only person that I talk to right now is my father and my sister. Right now, as I said, my sister is listening. That they are the two persons like blood that I family members that I talk. So that's my father's daughter, which reside in England. Right. She was the one who found out about it when she gave me the shower because I was having a very high fever that day. So, and one of the things I learned also was to become vulnerable. Because remember, I'm taking off and I'm putting on. So I'm taking off the people out of my life that is going to cause me to regress and go back to the constant pain. And now I started taking on people who would love me. I started opening up myself to people who would love me. I started allowing myself to become vulnerable to people who would love me. One of the things I learned too is to protect my space. So if a person right now come into my space and that person is going to cause my space to be miserable or to pull me back to that area where I was once upon a time, immediately that person has to be cut off. I have no time for that anymore. I've been abused enough. Physically, sexually, every other alley. Yeah, I have no time for it now. No time. So I build up myself. I stick around people who mean me well. And that's how I've been living ever since.
So, at what point did you, okay, you started to get some healing when you started communicating with this lady you found on YouTube?
Yeah, when I make up my mind and I said I want help and I found her stuff. And it is so funny, Unstoppable, because normally I do not order CD from anybody. And I ordered CD from this lady. And then it wasn't coming on time because I was very impatient. I was a very impatient person. The CD wasn't coming on time. I called her, never realized that it was her. I thought it was an assistant. And then when I pick up that it was her, I said, I need your help. And that is where it started off from.
Mm-hmm.
And this lady has been in my life ever since. We didn't just go to the therapy and all these things, and then it ended right there. Because, like I said, she's a minister.
Mm-hmm.
We keep in touch. We keep in touch, and
So,
she has been my mentor ever since.
so you mentioned that you had to learn to love yourself. So at what
I'm learning, still learning.
did you blame yourself for this at any point? Because I know persons tend to do that, think that it's
Of
their
course,
fault.
of course. I used to say it's my fault and I could have, fought harder. But then, as I on like I said, as the lady began to teach me the spiritual side of this situation and the physical part, I came to a place of understanding. And once you understand what was going on, this is when I began to take on. And then two, number one, you have to acknowledge that you need help. And number two, you have to be willing to participate in your own help. Because many times people ask for help, but then when you say, okay, I'm going to help you, they do not want to play their part. I had to play my part. I had to play my part. One of the first questions she asked me, because I taped all of my sessions with her, I taped all of it. One of the first things she asked me, are you willing to make a decision to forgive these people that hurt you? And I said to her, it wasn't an easy answer, but I said, I'm willing to at least give it a try. I'm at least willing to give it a try. And let me tell you something. One of them admitted that he did it. He never said he never did it. It's only his mother that still have it that they never did anything. And so they never come to me and apologize. And another thing I need to bring to the listeners, if you're sitting around waiting for an apology from these prideful people, you may or may not get it. What are you going to do if you don't get it? You may not get it. When I confronted one of them, when I was, because in 2017, I was going to a college in Jamaica in 2017, and I was doing a course in school counseling. And I remember one day when I was sitting in a class, I saw one of them Facebook profile came up on my phone, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to call him And I call him and I asked him, I said, why did you do what you did to me? And I said exactly what he did. I didn't go around the bush. I said, why did you do that? And the way he answered me is like, when somebody is not sorry, which I made up my mind that maybe he may not be sorry anyway. But guess what? I felt a little different. When I came to the United States, I was in another state that he was in. And I saw him and I stood there. And for the first time, I was able to stare at him. He came in with his wife and his adopted daughter. And I stood there and stared at him for the first time that I could not do in many years. That would have been many years after I met him.
Hold on. Did you just say adopted daughter?
Yeah, he was able to adopt a little girl because he was not prostituted in Jamaica. And the little girl looked just about the same way that I look. So I wouldn't put it past him that he's still doing the same. And I tried calling the people. Anyways, let that one stay on the shelf. But I saw him, his wife, and the little girl. And I just started to feel, that time I started feeling guilty. That was before I started getting help. I felt so guilty when I saw that he was able to adopt a little girl because he and his wife, they don't have any children. And the other one, by the way, in Jamaica, he's just useless. None of the persons who affected my life is like they don't have any use to themselves. I'm telling you. And I never did anything to them. I never went anywhere. And I never ever prayed bad prayer for them. But none of them have any use to themselves. None. I never did anybody anything. But I'm telling you, the good thing about it is that I'm feeling better where I am now than where I was before. I am able to stare myself in the mirror, stand up and stare myself in the mirror. I tell myself that I deserve to be loved. Yeah, and I start taking care of myself.
Wonderful.
It wasn't easy, but
The viewers are asking
that's where I am.
if you yourself have gotten kids.
No, I never wanted to have children because I was afraid that I would probably treat my children the same way my mother treated. Because when I said she treated me bad, it's no joke. But I don't want to make it about my mother right now. And I never wanted to continue the same cycle. I never wanted to have children and they go through the same thing. And this is why I never had children.
All right, Carl, I want to say thank you once again for sharing with us tonight your situation. And I'm quite sure someone that listened to you tonight got a message from you sharing this situation with us. And I'm glad that, as you said, you're able to push yourself forward and do better and learn to love yourself. That is very important. So I'm glad that you have gotten the healing and still learning, as a matter of fact, to love yourself. Right? So thank you once again for taking this bold move and actually speaking out tonight about what happened. And please continue speaking out, continue sharing your story, because remember, the more you tell it is the more you're letting go of it. You and I had a conversation the other day, and I said that, persons that go through this will never ever get over it. This is so true.
Right,
You'll
right.
never ever get over
Learn
it.
to live with it.
Right. It's not something that you can say, put it behind me and forget about it, because you'll never forget it. But like you said, you learn to live with it, and you learn to, build up yourself to be even stronger despite that happening to you. All right. So thank you so much once again to share with us, and have a blessed night. Thank you so much. Good night.
All right.
All right, Unstoppable family. Boy, may I tell you, that one right there. Like I said in the very beginning of the program, there are a lot of young kids right now going through this. Right now, this very minute as we speak, it is happening. This very minute as we sit here talking about this thing, it is happening to a very young girl right now, a young child, right? And I'm emphasizing this because I want every single person here that is a parent Look after no pitney. Question your children. Talk to your children. Educate your children. And one of the most important things I'm going to say to you is, if your child comes to you and say, "Mommy or Daddy, this is happening to me," do not doubt your child. Believe your child. Investigate it. Follow up on it. Don't make your child feel like you know, believe them. Because we've seen that far too often where parents, not believe when their children tell them these things. So, Unstoppable family, like I said, this one tonight is a powerful one. And if you're here listening and you have a similar story or any kind of story that you want to share on this platform, 876-420-3368 is the WhatsApp number. All you have to do is send a message and say, "Unstoppable, I have a story that I want to share." Because you never know, your story may be the story that may save someone's life. Someone may need to hear what you went through to know that they are not alone in their situation. We're at the end of the program, Unstoppable family, but before I leave, I want to remind you that tonight's show is sponsored by Clean Coochie, all right? And we have Clean Coochie here with us, and she's going to call in and tell you a little bit more about the items that she provides, all right? So, you know, if Binagi Tune good enough, she can tell you know exactly what kind of services she provide and what she can help you know with, whether on a male or female. Clean Coochie can help you know with something. All right, so Clean Coochie waiting on your call right now so that you can educate the viewers upon your services and the products and everything that you offer. All right, I want to say thank you once again to the persons that have contributed to the show. Thank you to Angela Wiley over there on Facebook for sending in a PayPal contribution. Felicia Brown sent in a PayPal contribution. Thank you. Sania Crowley sent in a Cash App contribution, and Shireen Morris sent in a Zelle contribution. Thank you so much. It is appreciated. All right, we're just waiting on Clean Coochie to call in so that we can discuss what items she provide, right? And Clean Coochie is the sponsor for tonight's show once again. All right, so you can check out Clean Coochie. And by the way, a big up to everybody who called Clean Coochie already. You know, she told me that she had a few persons from the show call her and is interested in her items. All right, so you can check out Clean Coochie and make sure say you go get what you need. All right, me I wonder why she take so long for call, but anyway, me I go give her a few more seconds and wait for her. All right, so let's see what's going on right now so we can have this conversation with Clean Coochie. I don't know why she take so long. Only hear the name. Yo, she have a name. All right, me call her then, since she must not listen for hear say myself a call. Me call her then so that she can break down what services she provide. Miss Clean Coochie, good night. Turn down the stream in the background for me there.
Good night, everyone.
So you never hear when time myself a call?
No, I joined the live late, so I don't know what happened a while ago. But as I was about to call, you called.
All right. So people, we have the CEO of Clean Coochie right here with us tonight, and she is here to tell you what services she provides. All right. So go right ahead, Clean Coochie. I'm gonna give you one minute and a half to talk to the people them real quick. What kind of service you provide? What kind of items you can give them, and what are these items good for? Go right ahead.
Okay, so the products that sexual dysfunctions and overall vaginal health. So we have products for persons who have fibroids, ovarian cysts, any form of period disorders, erectile dysfunctions, and so many more products, as well as cleansing products. So say for instance you have absent cycle for some reason, hormonal imbalances, and you want to, give yourself a more natural approach instead of using medication that is not working, then you can call me up and we'll go through the issue.
So I noticed one of the things that you promote mainly on your page is, well, it has to do with cleansing the female, private parts, right? But one of the things that I see you promote mainly is, if females have a odor, you have items for that.
Yes, I do. It is the
Your connection seems to be going in and out. I don't know why.
Is it better now?
All right, go ahead. You were saying it is what?
It's called the boric acid capsules. These are vaginal insert that really helps if you have recurring yeast infection or BV or any form of vaginal odor.
And a lot of people tend to think that if a female has odors, it's something to be ashamed about. Would you say it's something to be ashamed about, or if you can talk to me about that? Because a lot of persons may not want to call you because they must say, boy, I'm ashamed. Talk to me a little bit about that.
No, vaginal odor is not something to be ashamed about because.
Boy, I wish Clean Coochie internet never so bad. She keep going in and out. Talk again.
Okay. Is it better now?
Go ahead. We can hear you.
Okay. So as a female, we go through hormonal imbalances, right? And it can change the way we smell. So we have our when it's ovulation time or your cycle is coming on, your vaginal odor may change. And it's just normal for persons now who have a little infection. I mean, we get infection by the slightest thing. Maybe your toilet seat, maybe it's the tissue that you're using. Maybe.
Trevor Grant is asking if you can rise the dead. Yes, Trevor, she has a natural solution for that.
Yes.
All right. So anybody, all of the man them who want the solution, she has it. She says she can rise any dead. All right. I mean she have the product for that. All right. Anyway, Clean Coochie internet seems to be acting up tonight. I don't know why, but Unstoppable family, if you want to reach out to Clean Coochie, you can. Her number is 876-429-8345. Reach out and get whatever items you want. And like I told you before, she is very discreet with her business. So if you call her, you want to keep your business private, it will remain private between you and her. You can check her out on Instagram at Clean Coochie. It's KLEAN_KOUCHY. All right, Unstoppable family, we have reached the end of the program. So if you have your badge beside your name, whether you are on Facebook or YouTube, it's time for you to start marching out right now. GC says, spell it again. It's KLEAN_KOUCHY, and their number is 876-429-8345. All right, Clean Coochie. All right, yes. So if you know you have your badge beside your name right now, is the time for you to start marching out. All right. Right now is the time for you to start marching out. If you're on Facebook and you know you're an official supporter, send in the flames. If you're on YouTube and you know you're an official supporter, send in that custom emoji. All right, Trevor Grant is marching out with a golden VIP. We got Keisha Highly Blessed in the building. Keisha is back here regular again, big up yourself, Keisha. Keisha is rolling out with a super VIP. We got Beverly Wallace rocking a #1 fan badge. All right, we got Ruthan. Big up yourself, Ruthan. Thank you so much for checking in tonight. Negrita Unstoppable is here rocking an extreme VIP. Kissy Unstoppable is rocking an extreme VIP as well. We got Candace Unstoppable rocking a super VIP badge beside her name. We got Maximar rolling out with a super VIP. We got Sylvia Unstoppable rocking. She's on Facebook. We got Sylvia Unstoppable rocking her badge as well beside her name, and it's a super VIP. Alright, we got Natalia Unstoppable rolling out rocking her extreme VIP badge, and she's also reminding us about Janine Unstoppable. Alright. Oh, you're asking what's her name on Facebook. It's the very same name. It's Clean Coochie, spelled KLEAN_KOUCHY. Clean Coochie. Alright. We got none other than Merville Mackey marching out over there on Facebook, rocking her supporter badge. Oral Blake rocking his badge over here on YouTube as well. We got the Stush Pumpkin marching out, rocking her extreme VIP badge beside her name. We got Sylvia Unstoppable, aka Laurie and Lala Linton, over there marching out. Alright, yes. Big up on yourself, Unstoppable family. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. It is another awesome show, and I will see you all Wednesday night for another awesome one, of course.
See the music, 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 feel the music, way. Feel the music, way. Move your waistline, way. Move your shoulders, way. Feel the music, way. Move your waistline, way. Move your shoulders, way.
This music got me feeling like them way up high, sipping martinis and blue slushes with umbrellas up high. I like dancing, you like dancing? Put my feet up